Hello and welcome to Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. My name is Kelly and I'm a former wedding planner and blogger, and I'm obsessed with weddings. If you're planning a wedding in Ireland, you're in the right place. You're going to learn the tried and tested methods to planning your dream wedding without the added stress. Think of this as your one-stop shop for everything to do with planning your wedding in Ireland, with me, your new wedding planning bestie, and a cup of tea. This is Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. Well, hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast. My name is Kelly, and today we're talking all about wedding venue showcases, as well as wedding fairs and general wedding showcases. So for the purposes of this episode, I'm going to use the phrase wedding showcase a lot. But before we get into it, I'm going to explain a couple of differences. So you get a wedding venue showcase, which I mentioned earlier, which is when a wedding venue will open their doors. They tend to set up the venue as if they're hosting a wedding. And sometimes, actually often, they have other wedding suppliers in attendance. And so when you're there, you're not only looking at the wedding venue, although that's a big part of it, but you get to meet other suppliers. The other side of things is the wedding fair, or some countries will refer to it as a wedding expo. And that's often a much bigger venue. Sometimes it's not even a wedding venue, but it's kind of a conference venue. And you have different stands with different suppliers, which each have a stand. Sometimes you'll have things like a fashion show with wedding dresses and bridesmaids dresses and that kind of thing. Tastings and champagne and that kind of thing. Because there's such a blurred line between these two types of experiences, we're going to use the phrase wedding showcase today kind of interchangeably to cover both of these different types of events. So I'm telling you this at the beginning because you may find that if you attend a wedding showcase, it might have a little bit of both of these types of experiences rolled into one. It may be a variation of either one of these two types of events. So my first piece of advice is to ask if you aren't sure. So if you book a ticket, if you register to attend one of these events, have a look at the website to see what you can expect. And if you still aren't sure, you can always contact the person organizing. So it might be a wedding venue coordinator, whoever you've booked your ticket with, and you can get an understanding of what you're signing up for. And so I just want to put that out there because some venues will host events that sound exactly like what we're going to be describing today. And other venues and event coordinators will host events that are a little bit different, but have some similarities to what we're speaking about today. So I hope that makes sense. We will use the term wedding showcase to cover all of what we're speaking about today. But first, I want to discuss why you should go to a wedding showcase. I'm then going to have an expert who's going to walk us through the differences between a wedding venue showcase and a private site visit, as well as the pros and cons of each. And then we're going to end with some top tips on how you can get the most out of going to one of these experiences. Whether you're choosing to go to a wedding fair, an expo, a showcase, a venue showcase, whichever one you go to, I'm going to give you some top tips at the end of the episode so that you're not just there getting overwhelmed, but you want to be there making the most of your experience. But why don't we get stuck in? I'm going to first tell you why you should go to one of these experiences. Now, I used to be a wedding planner. And when I was a wedding planner back in South Africa, I would go to some of these experiences as a wedding supplier. I would pay to have a stand. I would be there with, business cards and different things. I got to connect with other suppliers, but I got to meet loads of engaged couples who were looking for suppliers. So I've been there as a supplier. I've also been there as a bride. When I was engaged, I would go to these events to see if I could find suppliers, find things that I hadn't yet seen in the industry. And so I can tell you that it is a really worthwhile experience. And here are a few reasons why. Firstly, you're going to have fun. Now, there's something amazing about getting engaged and doing all the wedding things. So whether that is buying a mug that says, "Does this ring make me look engaged?" Whether it's wearing all the white clothes that say bride on them, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing wedding things, you're going to feel like you're having an amazing time. And a wedding expo, a wedding showcase, a wedding fair, it's all part of the fun. You'll have freebies, you'll have samples, you'll get discounts. There'll be competitions, entertainers, cake tasting, champagne, all the rest of it, and just the buzz of being surrounded by other engaged couples and wedding suppliers. It's going to make you feel awesome. Another reason, you're going to find suppliers. Now, if you're attending a wedding fair, it's usually because you have some suppliers that you still need. So being at a wedding fair means you can connect with people. At the very least, you could be connecting with a wedding venue coordinator. But often you have the chance to connect with other suppliers, your photographers, entertainers, all the rest of it. You can be connecting with people, asking them all the right questions to actually make some bookings. Next, you get some inspiration. There's nothing quite like seeing something set up and right in front of you, as opposed to looking at things online. Of course, you could spend every waking moment of every day on Pinterest getting all the inspiration you need. But there's something really special about walking into a venue and seeing what it looks like set up and ready for a wedding. That's going to give you inspiration and ideas, and it's going to help you to bring your own wedding vision to life by seeing it right in front of you. You're going to get discounts and freebies. Now, I mentioned this before when I said it's going to be fun, but often suppliers will give discounts to couples who they meet at the wedding fair. So that's what I used to do. When I was a supplier, I would say to couples, take this business card or whatever it is, and if you use this reference number, you'll get a discount because I'll know that I met you at this wedding fair. So it needs to be in the best interest of suppliers to be at these fairs, but they want to make sure that it's a great experience for you as a couple as well. So if you're looking to save some money, booking suppliers that you've met at a fair or an expo or a showcase is a really, really good and smart decision. Another thing is you can ask all your questions. So whether you're at a wedding venue showcase or at a wedding showcase where you're meeting loads of other suppliers, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. So I always recommend, and we will talk about this a bit later, but I always recommend having questions ready so that you can get information while talking to suppliers. And then finally, you're going to find out what you don't want. Now, similar to getting inspired, seeing things in front of you and knowing what you enjoy, you're going to get some information about what you don't like. It might be some decor choices, maybe some wedding dress styles. Maybe you'll have a cake tasting and you'll realize there's some flavors that you love and flavors you don't love. Either way, you're getting information. It's going to help you to bring your wedding plans to life by understanding what you do like as well as what you don't like. Now, I mentioned before that there are pros and cons when you're thinking about a wedding venue showcase compared to a private site visit with a wedding venue. Now, the information that I'm about to share might sound familiar to you if you've already listened to episode 116 of the podcast. Now, if you have, you would recognize Raina from the Johnstown estate who answered this question for me, but I thought that her voice note that she sent to me was so helpful in articulating this point that I wanted to include it in this episode too. So if you've already listened to the episode, this is a helpful reminder. But if you've recently listened to the episode and you don't need this information, you can skip forward by about 3 minutes and you'll be at the next section of the episode. But if you haven't yet heard, Raina perfectly articulates the importance of having the one-to-one conversation with the wedding coordinators, as well as the benefits of being at a showcase where you get to see the venue set up in all its glory. So why don't we have a listen to what she has to say, and then when we're finished with that, we're going to go on to making the most of your experience at a wedding showcase. So let's have a listen.
Hello, my name is Raina. I'm the wedding executive here at the Johnstown Estate, and I'm here today to discuss the benefits of attending either a wedding showcase or scheduling a one-to-one appointment at a potential venue for a couple. Starting with a one-to-one appointment, this is probably one of the most personalised experiences that you'll have at a wedding venue. Not only will it be at a time that suits you, you'll also get the undivided attention of the wedding coordinator. You'll really be able to sit down together and comb through the wedding brochure and packages, going through all the inclusions and add-ons that you may wish to discuss. This is something to really give you a clear indication of how flexible your venue can be and tailor your wedding to be a unique and memorable day for you as a couple. It will be distraction-free and in a quiet environment, enabling you to really enjoy and take in the full experience of the venue. One of the downsides may be that the venue may not be exactly set up how you would expect it to be on your wedding day. Typically, for example, with, let's say, hotels, they may very well be setting up for a conference or a private gathering in one of the private suites where they would also typically host weddings. You then just need to use your imagination, and together with the venue coordinator, you'd come away with a clear vision in your mind's eye of how it would look on your wedding day. Many times the venue coordinator will have no problem sending over some photographs and images after the appointment to really give you a clear indication of how beautiful the space would look on your particular day. On the other side of the coin, a wedding showcase has its own array of benefits. One of the key takeaways is that it would be fully set up how it would be on your wedding day. It's a great opportunity for couples who may need a little more assistance visually with imagining how it would be on their wedding day, together with having everything from decor and lighting, table settings, arrangements, menus, table plans all set up so you can clearly see how the day will run. What also adds to a showcase is the fact that there typically is many trusted suppliers there on the day in attendance showcasing their products as well, such as your entertainment. You could have photo booths, selfie mirrors, candy carts, and more key things such as photographers, celebrants, florists, all there on the day. So I suppose you could really tick a lot of your boxes on the day of a wedding showcase and come away with a little bit of homework to do. Downside to that then is the venue coordinator might not be able to devote full amount of attention to you on a wedding showcase day. It's often quite a busy day, there's a lot of footfall throughout the venue, and it's just harder, I suppose, to focus the full attention. It may just mean that you might have to make yourself available to come back to the venue for that one-to-one appointment in the end, just to really comb through everything and make sure that you're making the right decision. In conclusion, here at the Johnstown Estate, we actually have the benefit of both. We host multiple wedding showcases throughout the year in different seasons, and also offer bespoke wedding appointments every week to ensure we can give our couples their undivided and personalised luxury experience.
Well, that was Raina from the Johnstown Estate, and I think that she perfectly articulated the differences between a wedding venue showcase and the private site visit. But as I mentioned before, that was actually a voice note that we shared in episode 116 of the podcast, which is all about wedding venue site visits. So if you haven't listened to that, I want to encourage you to go and give it a listen. In that episode, you'll find out a bit more about questions you can ask at a site visit. You'll find out about how many site visits you need, what to do if you can't visit your wedding venue in person, and so many other things. I asked the question, what do you like? What is appropriate when it comes to looking at a wedding venue that's hosting another wedding? Like, are you allowed to gate crash a wedding to look at a wedding venue? So you can find the answers to all of those questions in that episode. It's 116, all about wedding venue site visits. Well, let's move on to the final section in today's episode. I'm going to talk you through how to make the most of a wedding showcase experience. Now, a reminder that we are talking about showcases as wedding venue showcases, wedding fairs, wedding expos. We're covering all of it in this information. But just remember that some of the information may be more specific to different types of wedding showcases. So take in all the information. It's just a few tips, helpful, handy tips to make sure that you get the most out of the experience, because you want to be prepared. So, item number 1, wear comfortable shoes. I always recommend wearing comfortable shoes if you're going to be walking around wedding venues. You want to make sure that you have the option to try on dresses and things, so wear heels or bring heels with you, but wear comfortable shoes because your feet will thank you at the end of the day. Next is to choose your company wisely. So whether you're going with your partner, your mother, your sister, your best friend, make sure that the person or people that you take with you actually want to be there. You want to be with someone who has the stamina to explore all the suppliers and the chit chat that you're going to be having with different people. Someone who's going to enjoy having the samples and the tastings and all of that. Somebody who's going to enjoy watching wedding fashion shows. You want to make sure you got the right people. You don't want to feel rushed. You don't want to feel like you're a burden by being there. You want to go with people who are excited to be at the wedding showcase with you. Then I recommend eating before you go because you want to have energy. You may be able to have, samplings of food and cake and different things, and eating a good meal isn't going to deter you from doing those things, but it will mean that you have the energy and the stamina to keep going throughout the day. Know what you want. You need to arrive with a bit of an idea. So maybe you've already booked some of your suppliers, but have a clear idea in your head of who you're looking for. Not necessarily the specific names of the suppliers, but the types of suppliers. So if you're going knowing that you need to find a photographer, you're going to make a beeline for all the photographers to look at their work and have conversations with them. So make sure you have an idea of what you want. You don't just want to go and be like, I'm just here for the vibes. You want to be prepared and you want to know who you want to speak to so you can make the most of those opportunities. Then I recommend taking notes. This could be a notebook or a note on your phone. Whatever your style is, keep notes. You want to make, you want to keep track of which suppliers you've met, who you connected with. If you can, jot down what it was that you loved about them, whether it was the style, whether it was the relationship that you made with the person, a special offer that they spoke to you about. Just keep track of everything because you're going to forget. Take photos. Again, you're going to forget. Take photos of the things you like, whether it's the wedding dresses, the decor setups, something you enjoyed. Take pictures because your mind will be all over the place, which is absolutely okay. You could also take photos of business cards instead of holding on to them. If you do want to hold on to them, have a special bag that you pop everything into and make note of which business cards you wanted to actually, keep so you can contact people. But taking photos of them is another way to do it. And then the final tip is to ask questions. Have a list of questions that you want to ask different types of suppliers, and you will get the most out of the information that you're getting back from them because you're asking specific questions. You can ask anything from, what are the vegan catering options to, is there a naked flame policy? How many weddings do you host at your venue every weekend? That type of thing. You can be as specific as you want to be, but go in prepared and you're going to make the most of that time. Now, every week we do share a list of the wedding showcases, fairs, and events that take place across the country. So if you follow Weddings Online on Instagram, it's at Weddings Online. You can join our exclusive offers broadcast list. And that's where every week we share details about things like the competitions, the special offers, and then other exclusive wedding things. It's not a spammy group. It's a broadcast list so that literally I can send messages and that's it. But it will help you to keep track of the different events and things that are happening across the country every single week. And so if you haven't yet gone to a wedding showcase, a wedding event, or a fair, or anything like that, I really want to encourage you to go. But if you don't know where to start by following Weddings Online on Instagram and we'll tell you which events are coming up. And then you can go with your list of questions and all the information that you need to gather from your wedding suppliers that you get to meet. Well, thank you for listening today. The Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast is produced by me, Kelly, and mixed, mastered, and edited by Glenn Hartman. For more wedding planning tips, advice, checklists, and more, visit weddingsonline.ie.